G'day guys, it's Swyler here. Just came across this article. It is an opinion article, so it's not, it's not technically out published as news, but it is the opinion of this guy. So I thought I might give you a bit of a read. It's from the Financial Review. So, why you work until you are dead. Even reverse mortgages won't make up for the ravaging of retirement incomes by cheap money policies. Okay, so the 2008 Great Recession and the 2020 pandemic are hastening the end of retirement as we now understand it. The problems of chronic underfunding, low returns, longer lives, increased aged care, and medical costs are accelerating. The pressures has been exacerbated by individuals forced to draw on funds during the pandemic. Australia's post-work savings system, a model for the world, illustrates the unsustainability of the arrangements. Despite its small population of about 26 million, Australia has about 3 trillion in private retirement savings. Mandatory contributions, currently 9.5% of pre-tax income, and generous tax benefits underpin these savings pools, which is one of the largest in the world. So I guess from that perspective, Australia's got a good superannuation system, I guess, to be able to gain it, but we're still underfunded. However, the typical accumulated balance at retirement age is about $200,000 for men and about half that for women, so about $100,000. The averages are artificially increased by a small pool of people with large balances, yet are well below the $600,000 to $700,000 estimated to be necessary for home-owning and debt-free couples to finance their retirements, which may last 20 years or more. We're going to need to live on more money for more amount of years, and yeah, those 200,000. I mean, I'm sure that would cover someone for maybe 5 years or something like that, maybe 6 at worst. So you gotta last 20 years, and this doesn't even include the inflation that will be in let's say 20 years when someone chooses to retire. So the shortfall forces increased reliance on the government finance pension. Originally intended only as a safety net, about 70% of retirees are reliant on in part or full on the state pension, which at about 40% of average weekly earnings is substantially lower than the 65 to 75% thought to be needed. With public finances stretched, access to the government pension is likely to become more restrictive over time. We pay taxes to be able to help pay for the pension, and if less people are paying taxes, less people can pay the pension too. So, we go. Scroll down. Last year's Callaghan review of the Australian system highlights how retirement arrangements will be forced to evolve. The centrepiece is the proposition that retirees must live off their savings and the equity in their home, not only the earnings of their investments. Savings should not be seen as building a legacy or nest egg to be bequeathed to the next generation. That almost knocked me off my socks when I read that. I mean, I thought that's what we're all trying to do here. We're all trying to. We need a certain amount of money to be able to pass on. But it sounds like it's just going to be all withered away. All savings must be exhausted, and the family home monetized to fund living standards in retirement. In essence, your account balance should be at zero at the time of you and your spouse's death. They're anticipating that you will burn through your cash by the time you're dead. That's the thing. Given the need for shelter, this will necessitate taking out reverse mortgages, effectively borrowing against the value of your home, with the debt to be liquidated on sale at death. While superficially attractive, these policy prescriptions pose difficulties. First, households must borrow when there is no capacity to service debt. The loan and capitalised interest must be recovered from the eventual sale proceeds of the home, which is dependent on asset values. If population cohorts retire and die around the same time, it will place pressure on the house prices that secure mortgage loans. Second, reverse mortgages may not generate sufficient money to finance retirement. It assumes high levels of savings or home equity. This is compounded by the likely low loan-to-value ratio of reverse mortgage because of a lack of cash, interest payments, and collateral value uncertainty. There's a whole mouthpiece of words there. But basically, they're saying that living on the debt of a mortgage of a house you've just paid off will not be sufficient enough to be able to live in retirement. I kind of see a scenario where, like, when you've burnt through all your cash, that you are, when you die, that your kids need to pay off the loan somehow. If they don't, if that's not the case, then maybe there's some sort of like death insurance, and maybe that pays it off. But God, that just puts it onto the rest. It just drives up everyone else's premium. There are difficulties in estimating borrower longevity and partner survival, something which has eluded mankind and actuaries alike. Commercial lenders may be reluctant to participate without government support or guarantees, which would increase the demands on state resources. Third, the scheme favours existing homeowners. Housing unaffordability means that many in future generations will never own homes. That's actually becoming more and more common these days. There are less people of certain ages being able to afford homes because house prices are now getting priced out. They are simultaneously deprived of bequests from parental estates, reducing their seed capital, given the record numbers of children are forced to move back in with their parents. The liquidation of the family home may also deprive them of housing. So not only are the older people doing reverse mortgages on their housing to live, but their kids have been priced out of the housing market, going into large amounts of debt to buy houses, and they might, many of them probably choose to rent instead, which means they will not have that same ability in their retirement to be able to do a reverse mortgage at all, because they will be renting. Look, basically, they just simply have to continue working for the rest of their life if they haven't figured it out. Fourth, the strategy entails running down the wealth stock of a country as savings are used up and houses sold. In effect, capital is consumed to finance current expenditures. In aggregate, the running down of savings will affect available investment resources across the economy, making the nation more dependent on foreign sources. Uncertainty of drawdowns may affect long-term investment decisions. Problems highlight failures in economic and social policy. Low wage growth and lack of income security combined with consumerism has meant inadequate savings. This is one of the things I was arguing with a dude yesterday, or this morning in fact, saying the goal should not be to just increase spending all the time, because all we're doing is making people like empty they basically go to zero on their bank account because of their wage, and they have no savings, and so they never have money to save. Absurd economic policies over decades have reduced investment income and cash flow. It has exaggerated house prices, which are now apparently to be used to cover inefficient savings and inadequate investment cash flow earnings. Paralleling the year 2000 Saturday Night Live More Cowbell comedy sketch, policy makers now see more debt as a panacea to every problem. Retirement will revert to a privilege of the wealthy, supported by expensive, regressive tax subsidies which always favour high-income earners. For the shrinking middle class, savings and a state pension, as long as it's around, may prove insufficient. Most will unlikely be mostly unable to retire, having to work and work and work till they die. When the penny drops, this additional inequality will manifest as further resentment against the elites and the swamp, with unpredictable political consequences. I couldn't agree more. This is a banger of an article, opinion article, mind you, but it drops some bombs. It drops some real bombs, and I mean, this is. I cannot stand it when people like the RBA only just released another $100 billion bonds. Again, they're doing QE like crazy, and they're trying to manipulate the market to make people spend beyond their means. Everyone's going into debt, and this whole thing talks about just living off the debt of the actual house that you used to have. I mean, every single time I see like Fifi or whatever her name is, she's like, "Oh, reverse mortgages are a great solution." Maybe, but it's bloody dire. Not good. Get your head out of your ass and just figure out ways to save and scrimp on money and invest. Swallow out.